Okay. So yeah, we're here. We're doing this. Possibly, if anyone joins, we are doing this. I don't know if anyone will join or not. So yeah, this this might be good. It might not be. I don't know. And I also need to figure out how to see who's in the background here um, when people actually join because I'm on my cell phone. I might actually have to have both cell phones going for this. But yes, good day. And I have my earphones in just in case people join. I'm going to go check this stuff out here. Um, because yeah, because I can. Basically, what it comes down to, because I can. I just have to figure out how to see my background studio here to add people to let them join in. Um, oh, so yeah, okay, that's how I can see it. Okay, I got this. I got this. I got this. Uh, I'm probably just going to be talking to myself for a while, see if anyone joins or not. Yeah, I got one guy asking what that was. So yeah, I know Middlefroot had mentioned he wanted to join, but can't find his email. Can't find it. I did send one to Sparky, so I do have a guest button where if you have the link, you're supposed to be able to show up. Um, but this is kind of a test. Kind of a test. See what's going on here. So I just need you to email me. I'll send you the link, and we can see if we can get you in or not. Like I said, I know that. Then I'll deal with this as I can. I wonder if I do this as the desktop site, if that changes anything, right? Let's click that. Okay, am I back? Am I on now? Looks like I might be on. Okay. Yes, I did send the link to him already. Okay, I think. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to deal with my blind eyes for a minute here. I think I got this. I think I got this. I mean, it's not the prettiest on my side. I can't see anything anyone was doing, but I think, I think we got it. So now I just need people to join me. Who wants to join? Who wants to come and chat? Right? Who wants to come and say hi? I'm glad they changed it so that you can pull it up this way. He's in another stream, which I believe is ending soon. Stand by. I will try. Well, I will sit by. I will sit by. Right here. This is where I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit right here. Yeah. So hopefully everybody's doing good. It's been great being out of the Arctic for the 10 days. It's been interesting being on my own for these 6 days now. I don't particularly like it. I have not been without my wife except for the time she was in the hospital dying. And then miraculously just got better, and nobody knows how. It's a complete and utter mystery to the doctors how she just stopped bleeding. You're just not bleeding internally anymore. We don't know why. We don't even know where you were bleeding from. I guess you can go home. like, and that was the only time I've been away from her since we started dating. Really, I like I said many a time, I was in love with that woman since high school. And when we started dating, and I found out that she was in love with me since high school as well, and just how well we got along and how the same we were. I at one point handed her my extra key, and I go, "Here, I'm going to give this to you." I go, "One, you're free to come over whenever you want. I'm not hiding anything from you. And two, it just means that my extra key is somewhere I can get it if I lose my keys." because I'm liable to just lose my keys and not be able to get into the house. And now at least I could call you and get in without breaking a window and then having to pay for the window. She goes, "Okay, thanks." And it was about a week of me going to work and all that. And then I came home from work one night, walked into the house, and I didn't really pay any attention to it. I'm like, why aren't the dogs in their crates? Okay, whatever. I must not have locked them up. And I went to bed, and she was laying in my bed to surprise me. She even parked her car somewhere else so I wouldn't notice it right away. So, that was something interesting, very interesting to me. And now I'm just blabbering for no reason because I started this new stream and nobody's here. It's just me, just me. And I got to try and make it interesting enough until the people join, if the people join, so that you guys are still watching. And if you're not watching, well, shame's on you. You missed out. I guess. I guess. Maybe you didn't. Maybe the whole thing sucked, and you didn't miss out on shit. I don't know. I really don't. I can see why you'd want this to be done on a computer, though. Well, at least if you're blind like me, those are small little things going on there. I do kind of feel bad for the people in the room beside me because I think they can hear everything I say because I hear them even touching their coat hangers and shit. Like it's not the best soundproofed room of the whole hotel. I've actually been in this hotel several times. Like I said, this is the worst room I've been in the entire building. But I won't hold that against them because they do have a shuttle, and that saves a lot of money going back to the airport because it cost. We did stay in one hotel that didn't have a shuttle. It cost us like $42 to get back to the hotel, and it was an airport hotel, so it was close to the airport, and it was still a $42 cab ride because cabs are insane, especially with gas prices going up. Right, it was going up by 5 cents like every 5 seconds. It was messed. Oh, it was messed. Hmm. Ooh, I see a picture showing up. Look at that. That's not me. Good day, sir.
We have made contact again.
Beer and a bozo. I'm on about a lot of things. What's going on, Chris?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Clear stream?
Yeah.
That's the first.
So what's going on, sir?
Not too. Let's see. Oh, okay. We can connect on a topic of perhaps some mental health. Sometimes you have to ask that question to yourself: when have you done something fun in a while? You know what I mean?
Not since I went to the north.
Right. But I mean, when your thoughts ruminate a while and you continue to have the same thoughts all the time, it brings up the theory of Benjamin Franklin. If you do tomorrow what you did today, you'll get tomorrow what you got today. And what that is it's the idea of changing the way you think from a day-to-day perspective. And that can even go from a good day.
Apparently, you're Zelensky. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, it's true. Like I today when I woke up, I was after I found out there was a brewery 650 meters away. I'm like, I have to get out. I have to step out of this fucking hotel.
Yes,
and it did raise my spirits a little bit.
Pardon me, you're currently in Montreal, correct?
Yes, I'm still in lockdown in Montreal. Well, I'm not in lockdown anymore. I've been released from lockdown. I'm just not allowed to fly back yet.
Right.
Yeah,
continue.
No, go ahead.
So I've got a target plan for tomorrow, and it's one I came up with in the bathtub, or the hot bath after work on a Friday.
Oh, you're living life on the edge, sir.
Oh, this is gonna blow that bandana right off your head. Tomorrow I'm gonna go and buy a little fish bowl and get some fish.
Oh. You're really living life on the edge.
Look out, folks. But what do we mean? But that's actually something that's big for me. As I remember, as a kid, I could stare at a fishbowl for hours, and I still could to this day. And it's one of those things about when you get stuck a bit in life, when all you can think about, all you can dream about is work. That's your conscious tapping at yourself, saying that the other side's unbalanced. You're not doing something for yourself, not something that's a bit more social, something that's fun. So even something like recently I got my hair cut, and that was fun, and it changed me. And it's just those little things that you have to keep doing. That even though they sound simple, for myself, buying some fish tomorrow, from buying a vacuum, it's these little things to upgrade your life.
Yeah, we don't have fish up in the Arctic.
Well, it's a mixed topic. You got fish, but you don't have fish that you would want to.
Oh, is that me or Chris that just froze?
Okay.
It was Chris, not me. Okay.
All right. Is this one of your Beer Dweebs United chats?
Well, no and yes at the same time. It's kind of we're online. I can't believe that I have been able to do this because you never used to be able to do this on a cell phone.
Right.
And now it's letting me. So I figured let's try and see what the fuck we get. I have a little bit of time before my wife finishes her movie with the kids, and then she's going to want me to talk to her. And yeah.
Any
Since
particular topics on your mind that you want to rhyme off with somebody else?
I don't even know, man. I just like I said, I'm just amazed that I can actually get this done now. It's been years since we've actually done one of these. Usually
Right.
it's just me and the wife sitting beside each other, ranting about each other.
Actually, I've got
Actually,
one
that's
for
something
you.
somebody asked us if we could do. Sure.
Out of your food reviews, when you've been doing the Uncle Ray's chips,
Yes.
I'm quite the fan of Uncle Ray's chips. And I should let you know that down in Syracuse and Buffalo, for the Junior Blue Jays, the Buffalo Bisons, the AAA club, Uncle Ray's is a sponsor. They call themselves the official potato chip of the Buffalo Bisons. But they're a completely different chip. They're kettle cooked.
Really?
Yeah, I quite enjoy the Uncle Ray's. The hot is my favorite. Kosher dill is probably a close second. But I certainly
The kosher dill was good.
it's a very good chip. Yeah, the hot is more unique. It's acquired to taste. I remember buying it from a close friend who ran a Guyanese grocery store, and he looked at me like I was nuts. Like, man, you can eat this stuff?
I love this stuff.
Yeah, no, even on the back of the back of the bag when they read the ingredients or illustrate the ingredients, it just says hot spices. It doesn't actually tell you what it is that makes the hot chip. Like, what is the flavor? It's not it's not Death Reaper, it's not golden whatever. It's just hot.
Yeah, it was an interesting ship, and I like my wife made fun of me for never having it. She's like, "How have you never had this?" And I had never had it. It was a chip I had never in my life tried, and they were good. I mean, I enjoyed them. While we're talking, I'm just tapping in beers I reviewed tonight so that I don't forget to.
Are you having any brews tonight?
Yes, I have three. Well, I only have two left from Lux Brewery, and I have one from Maelstrom left to drink tonight because, well, I have them to drink. So, yeah. Lux Brewery is the brewery I walked over to today that is very close to the hotel. Really nice little spot, but it's a really little spot. But they make some damn tasty beers. No match? What do you mean, no match? And yeah, I have a few left that Harry brought me, and I think I have one left from Brian, and then I have the ones I bought today at the Looks.
There was once a beer available in Montreal beer stores, and I think it was called Diablo.
Yes.
And was that the one that cranked in around 10%?
There's a couple Diablos out there, but yes, there was one that cranked in right around 10.
I'll forever love the review I read from a guy on Beer Advocate who posted a review, and then when you went to comment on the alcohol percentage, he said that when I was at the beer store when I was purchasing this, I didn't have my reading glasses on me, and when I came home, I was shocked to find that it was 10%. That story is about as believable as a 10-yard pike.
I had a. I recently had one guy talking to me about a beer from the Forgotten Lake blueberry beer from Sleeping Giant, and he's like, "Well, the can says 5, but it's actually like 10% alcohol." And I'm like, if that's the case, you really shouldn't be talking about that because they can get a huge fine from the AGCO for that.
Right.
Like they're only allowed a 0.5 variance. And yeah, if they're saying 5 and you're saying fucking 10, there isn't that little 0.5 variance. There's a big variance going on.
Have you ever bought a beer yourself where you've brought it home and you've been shocked by the alcohol percentage?
Oh, quite often. Usually I'm more shocked that it says it's as high as it is because it does not taste that high at all.
Right. The one that got me was definitely Boxer Watermelon.
Yes.
As just by the name alone, from Boxer, and throw in the beer styles. Like, of course, I had to try it. Of course, I had to come in, the size of a can that can feel a fucking wheelbarrow.
Yes.
And I think 8.5 was the total. And it's funny though, when you get into talking with brewing with watermelon. Most watermelon beers that you'll get, particularly from your craft breweries, anyone that's trying it, often the complaint that comes from the reviewer is that it doesn't have enough watermelon. Watermelon
Yes.
wheat seems to be the most common, but watermelon is a very tricky beer to brew with because it contains so much sugar. So if you're trying to make a nice beer, like something like you would have with a hint of watermelon and the wheat, and like in a summer beer, it sounds excellent. But if you go too far with the watermelon to really progress the watermelon character, it's very easy to make your regular watermelon wheat turn into like an 8% beer. There's just so much sugar coming from that fruit.
And on top of that, it's one of those beers that you psychosomatically expect it to be like red or pink.
Yes.
And it's not going to be because watermelon juice is almost colorless. And every single time I get a watermelon beer, I pour it and I get disappointed because it's not red or pink. And I know it's not supposed to be, but
right.
I expect it to be, right? And I'm like, oh, every single time.
So with you and I and all our brewing experience and our taste for beers, when it comes to watermelon beers, Boxer Watermelon reigns supreme. It's like the highest order of.
And you don't ever want to give the Minhas Brewing Company a fucking pat on the back or anything, but you're right. When it comes to watermelon beers, they have the best one.
It just needs it needs like the Kool-Aid Man on the front of the label just to finish it off.
We're on to Lux Cerveza.
Okay. Room temperature, like baseboard heat type temperature?
It's a little cool because it came out of their fridge around 3.
Okay.
But not very cool. I might actually walk up there again tomorrow and get a beer or two. I don't know if I've tried everything they have. I'll have to go in and go, look, I bought the 8 cans you have. I had these 3 sours. Do you have anything else? And if you don't, I'll just get something you already have because I walked here. But the problem with that place is it's one of those, it's such a small place that I did my reviews there, but I'm almost whispering into the camera because it's so small, everybody can hear everything you're saying. And it's like 6 staff members and me. And I'm like, right? Like, can't let you know what I'm saying. But it's a pretty little place. It's in a building that's obviously like just those industrial, like almost like what you would have different different insurance companies in, like almost like
Yes.
a cubicle
Yeah,
each one,
I
and
understand.
they're in one of those, and it's a nice little building, but there's so many of them lately that are just so small. And what you go to the SBO more than me? What is the average price of a can of beer right now in Ontario?
Let me. I'll go with the Waterloo stuff. Like, let's say a can of Waterloo Dark,
Yep.
$2.95.
Okay, so I guess it's not as different as I thought it was. Price right now of some craft brews.
And so, at the
$3.75 to $4.50. Okay. Because these are all 344s. These are all 344s, and you can get 6 of them for $19. Or if you're buying them single, they're about $4.25. So it's one of those things where, for me, Quebec obviously has slightly higher prices, because I think, Douglas, you're talking about your average 473 can, not
Right.
a 340. And like these cans, this is a 473, and I thought this price was the add-on because of it being from a bottle shop, but this was $5.89 this can.
what are we considering to be mainstream beer?
Oh, that was just craft beer. Mainstream would be like but that's the thing. Like, if you were to buy a 12-pack of Bud in Quebec, you're paying about $22, so you're paying less than $2 a can.
Okay.
But again, you're getting the 344s, and then double the price. Or if I was buying something this size in Ontario, I'd probably be paying $6, and I just didn't realize it. Then maybe it's because I live up there, but I didn't realize the price of beer went up that high. Which all this beer is getting that pricey already. I'm paying,
yes.
if I buy a case of Bud, I'm paying almost $70 already. So if the price goes up, there's going to be a lot of crime up there, as that people are trying to get their fucking beer.
It's a whole different. Well, it's a topic. I can't talk too much about it. From any impoverished areas that I've been living in, I know that Laker Ice is still the beer of choice.
Your sound keeps dying on you right now, sir.
We're both pausing. You get a bit blurry as well, like you just completely stop, and it's a battle of deficiencies. So what I said was, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. In impoverished areas around here, Laker Ice is still the beer that Jesus used to drink.
Oh, ice beers. I did never.
Clocks in about 5.5, and it's the 0.5 and the lowest price per milliliter per beer that drives the sales. So it's $2, $2 a can.
Yeah,
That's Laker Ice.
I can't bring myself to buying Laker Ice. Even if I really want to get drunk, I can't bring myself to buy it.
No, you might as well just go to sleep. Now, but that doesn't besmudge even the new owners that are running Brick Brewery, because even beers like Laker, like the regular Laker lager, when I was living in St. Catharines, I was much closer to the brewery, and I absolutely loved that beer. And I thought it was because I was just getting it fresher, and it was just a great beer to have after work. You'd have one, it would cry for another. The second one would never be the same. But your Laker Red, no, they're for budget beers. You know, they're respectable. Laker Ice, I wouldn't wash a doghouse with Laker Ice.
You wouldn't wash a doghouse with Laker Ice.
If the scenario came up. Right? But here's one for you.
Sorry, guys, I'm just responding to Douglas here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We've talked about this before, way back, actually, quite a few years ago on Beer Dweebs. The quest for lager beer and to have that classic lager taste. Now, a lot of the big breweries, it's not necessarily a crack at them, because I just don't understand how the marketing goes and sales and what have you. But they've diminished the level of malt and replaced it with corn and rice, and all that's done to save 10 cents, even 5 cents per can. It's lost that classic lager bite at the finish. Like you're getting just more sugar, more rice, more raw rice or corn. And it's really taken a hit on a lot of the big European breweries that you see in the Ontario market at the LCBO. All your Tatra, your Lek, Akashim, like they've all completely reduced, and you're just getting maximum corn sweetness in the finish. Now with the craft brew side, when you open up a craft brewery and you're new on the scene, it's good to come out with a lager to pull in that crowd. But even that's starting to sound dated, because like lagers are becoming very passé with the current consumers. So maybe 10 years ago, it was neat to brew a lager and use a different type of malt or a different type of hop and just have something a little extra to pull someone away from the Molson Canadian crowd. But a lager is also incredibly trickier to brew than something from the ales, particularly when you're trying to sell this stuff. So all that being said, the question is, what is that lager beer that's out there right now that is not trying to be gimmicky with a different flavor, and one that is not using the corn or the rice to finish? And it's a tricky question. I don't expect an answer on the spot. I'm promoting.
I'm thinking. Sorry. So towards your question there, I don't know. A lot of the good craft lagers I've had lately have truthfully been adjunct lagers, being corn or rice. I had two tonight. I had the Japanese lager from Lux, which was really, really good, and I don't normally like rice lagers. And then the Japanese super dry rice lager from Rorschach. And again, I don't normally like rice lagers. And when I smelt the Rorschach, when I smelt that kind of gross, dirty smell you get from a lot of the rice lagers out there.
Yeah.
But then they also used a citrus fruit to sweeten the back of it, so you didn't get that super dry. And that was actually really nice.
It's a nice beer, but it doesn't sound like your regular backyard lager.
I don't know how many you find now. Like a lot of craft brewers still overhop their lagers.
Yep.
And that's the big problem with them. They try to make it something more than it needs to be.
And from my end as well, I noticed they also play with the malts a lot, and you get a lot of Cara Munich. a lot of oatmeal, and trying to come up with a different finish. But can't somebody out there make a goddamn simple beer anymore? I had a hard time with it as a home brewer because it's the ultimate test. With as when you're in the kitchen and you're brewing, it's an extension of your creativity. Try and brew a cream ale. Fuck that. Like that's not why you're in the kitchen. But the greatest test of a brewer, particularly when trying to make a lager, is learning constraint.
And trusting in yourself, really, because a lot of times, like whenever I would brew a lager, I would be fearful that I was going to screw something up. So I would add something to it to try and hide any of my mess ups. And
Right.
it's the game that a lot of people play, right? You can't hide as much problems in a low alcohol lager. There isn't the body, there isn't the flavors to hide that stuff. So it becomes a little more difficult. But yeah,
like ironing out your whites on the laundry line. You got nothing to hide.
My whites aren't all that white.
What's that beer from Portugal that was a regular lager at the LCBO? It called something. It was like super something. Was it Super Bock?
Yes.
I haven't had it in years. I remember that one was on the list, though. That was one that, we were going through the storm of major breweries reducing to corn and then more hops from the craft guys. I remember Super Bock surviving the storm. I don't know what it is today.
I don't know what it is today either.
It's kind of a fun project, though. Like going towards the spring and the summer, even if you hit up some of the big guys. I don't know. When's the last time you had a Molson Canadian?
4 or 5 years ago.
I'm about the same, and I had one ice cold from a bottle with a hot hamburger at a diner, and it was excellent. It might enhance the beer when you're going with those food pairings and scenarios, or not scenarios, places that you're at. Sorry, I have to go too far for words.
Well, I mean, tomorrow I'll be looking at their just blonde lager, and apparently it is just your average boring lager, is what he said. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for, to be honest. And the older I get, the more I kind of just want a boring beer. I remember when I started doing this. You know, you'd put a Pilsner in front of me and I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Right? And as I'm getting older, I don't want that 10 or 11 or 12% porter or stout all the time. I want something I can drink a couple of and still go up to the bedroom and do my thing with my wife, right? Like I don't want to pass out halfway through or anything like that. Like
I'll give you a good one. I'll mix a beer with sex talk and being in a relationship. If you're particularly well endowed, that can make for a great thing when you're like in your single style and you're picking up chicks at the bar and stuff like that, and you just come home and plow them with your huge dick. But when you get into a relationship, sometimes a giant penis is like living on an island, and the only thing to drink is beer. But the only beer that you can drink is Crest. So it's just 10% all the time. That's tough on that's tough on a woman. That's tough in a relationship, and it's tough as a beer drinker when all the time it's just maximum alcohol. I think that's a very circuitous route to get to a point, but I think you know what I mean.
thought emails before, Paul. Well, Paul, you could also send me a message on Facebook. Oh. It won't let me post it there, Paul. I'll try one more time for you, good sir. Or I could just say it out loud, I guess. Oh, no, that one went through.
What's
there you go,
going
Paul.
on?
There it is. What's going on? I don't know. Paul was asking for my email so he can get a join link.
Okay.
So I was just making sure that he was able to get that so that I can send him said link.
So to just finish on that topic about the lager beers, again, like neither of us have an answer for tonight.
No, like I said,
but it's an interesting pursuit. Like who can do it? Who can fit in between the corn and between the hops? Who can just do a regular normal beer?
I don't know if there is actually one out there, to be honest. In all honesty, I don't know how many times I actually just drink a regular lager beer anymore. Like I said, I kind of want that more so than anything else, but I don't know if I do it often. Belle Guille's Pilsner here in Quebec, they make a solid, just easy drinking beer. Organic lager from Mill Street, you can just drink that. Even after the merger with Anheuser-Busch, it's still a fairly okay beer.
I remember the organic lager. It's still heavy on the. It's Munich Hells again, like with the hops or not with the malt. Like yes. It doesn't have a clean finish. It has an interesting finish. Like it's something you would pair with something, but if you're out cutting the grass and crushing back an organic lager, it doesn't quite. It leaves a little bit of too much of an aftertaste. Now there's a comment. Aftertaste. You remember that in advertising? Labatt Extra Dry used to boast no aftertaste. And that was easy because it didn't taste like anything at all.
And then it started tasting like nothing but corn and corn syrup.
Is it still available?
The Extra Dry? Yeah.
Only in giant cans?
I think it's giant glass bottles. And they have like 4 different ABVs. They have like a 5, a 7, an 8, a 10.
That just makes you feel like a rat in a cage and you're being tested.
Well, like today when I was at Looks, we were talking about craft beer and we were talking about the challenge of making the beer the same each time, like the challenge of working with smaller amounts of particle of stuff and making a beer that is consistent, because every single time you have a malt harvest, your malt's going to be slightly different. Your hop harvest, your hops are going to be slightly different, where you'll brew it to the same standards and then you go to try it and it's not the same. And he's like, yeah, I made this amazing IPA and the customers loved it. And then I made it again, and I had to dry hop it several times to get it back to the right flavor because the hops just were not as strong. He goes, and I just had to keep doing it until I got it right. He goes, it's sad, but that's a consistency problem that we always will have. And I go, yeah, you're right. And part of the problem with the craft beer industry is there's brewers that, unlike you, that are trying to make sure it's consistent, will purposely go out and make things inconsistent. And he's like, well, what do you mean? So I started talking about, Chente, as much as I don't like talking about them right now after he went scorched earth during the Freedom Convoy and everything else. But
right.
Yeah, he went full on scorched earth. But I don't know how much longer his business is going to last because he did some. Anyway, so what he likes to do is he'll make the same beer with the same recipe, but because he in the fermentation temperature makes an entirely different beer. So he'll ferment, he'll make innocente bystander, so innocent bystander, and he'll make it 4 different times at 4 different temperatures to see what happens. And then he sells it to people and they're like, well, this is a different beer. What are you talking about? He's like, no, it's the same beer. So he's purposely creating inconsistencies, and that type of stuff is just stupid because you make a brand and you bring people in. Now, if you want to play that game, you can play that game, but you have to let people know, you need to be like, this is Innocente, but slightly different because we did this.
Before, I'm just going back in time when I say before Creedmoor got bought out by Molson, because I'm not trying to create any kind of riff there because that was
You're going way back in time.
Yeah, back 200 years ago. With their Urbach, they had inconsistencies, but they made a public comment, and this was great with them as being a young brewery. They said that we make the beer for ourselves. If you happen to enjoy it, that's just a benefit for us. And that's why Urbach always changed all the time. And I respect breweries that are honest with particularly with alcohol percentages when they change, even drastically, because that obviously changes the recipe. It's not just about the alcohol. But Creedmoor Springs and their Urbach, they were one of the first to be utmost honest about the beer not being consistent all the time. Which, if you don't mind, can I keep going?
Yeah.
When you buy a beer from a major label like Labatt Beer, and it says that it's 5%, you're going to go ahead and tell me that every time that beer is made, it's absolutely 5% right on the dime.
They actually get to a point, a lot of them, where because most of their stuff is extract, it's not even full grain or anything. Like you can, a lot of those breweries, you can walk in and see the high fructose corn syrup. And because a lot of it is also computer run, like there isn't a person doing everything. Like there is a person brewing it, but they don't have to be watching everything. A lot of that beer will get to that right temperature. And a lot of times too, they will do the overproofing. They'll go up to like 7% alcohol or 8% alcohol and water down to 5%.
That's what I was curious about. So when you have a multitude of beers that come from someone, we're not picking on Labatt's. I'm just using Labatt's as an example, that go from anywhere from 10% down to 3%, but they all remain with that Labatt taste. I can't believe that there are 35 different vessels brewing independent beers located to anything from Labatt Honey to Labatt Maximum Ice to Labatt Blue, Labatt Dry, Labatt Light. Are they taking one Labatt product and working with it? Like, I mean, do they start at 10% and work themselves down?
I would say a lot of times they possibly do. I mean, especially with like the Labatt Extra Dry that comes in at more than 1%. I would suspect that that's the same beer, just watered down. There is there is a craft brewery, and I'm not going to name them, but there's a craft brewery in Ontario that used to do that as well. They made 3 beers, and what they did was they made 1 beer and they watered it down to the percentages they wanted it to, because their mash tun was a lot smaller than their fermenters, so they would get it to like 12%, and then they would make it down to. And the sad thing is, they said that to me on a beerumentary. We were there filming one of our interviews, and they admitted to it in the interview. And then I'm like, you probably don't want me to put that in this, do you? And they're like, no, it can stay. And I'm like, it can stay. And they're like, yeah, that can stay in. So in one of my interviews, that's in there. And yeah, and they're still around. They're still a big brewer in Ontario. They've moved. They were the brewer that we show off ever open up a brewery. Because I've been asked several times why you don't open up your own brewery, and I'm like, because I need the money to buy everything myself. I need to own my building. And they're like, no, you'll always get the lease. You're a good paying customer. Well, this brewery had an amazing spot, and it had an amazing foot traffic, and things happened. And they lost that spot and had to buy their own building to put their brewery in or fold.
I won't discredit a major brewery from doing that. You can go after, not go after, but we can talk about Budweiser and the original Czechfire, and even Czechfire is Czechfire or Budvar, whichever region you're drinking it from, is a much more dumbed down version of what it was originally, because those breweries have grown so much that for them to mass produce and sell their product, you'd be paying your prices from up in northern Quebec at $72 a 2-4 in Ontario if they had to use all fresh ingredients all the time. And that goes for all the big guys. So with your if we talk about Labatt's and all the different augmentations of an original brew that come down, everything from maximum ice to honey lager, shit, in the end, as long as it tastes good, that's a good product to put out, because there's no way they're going to employ that many people and support that economy and be able to produce beers with, at the craft level of all natural hops and stuff like that. It's just not possible, and that's fine. Go back to some other bigger names and get a little nostalgia vitamin. A&W Root Beer, McDonald's hamburgers, Tim Hortons, which was originally a hamburger shop. What did those things taste like originally? And then when they caught on, they had to diminish, the ingredients just to be able to satisfy or to service the amount of customers that were serving. It's what happens, right? When you get big, you can't stay big all the time.
I mean, you can keep quality there for a lot of them. Like you look at a McDonald's hamburger, and then you look at, say, like a Wendy's and A&W, all that type of stuff. They are almost as big, not nearly as big as, shall you say, but I mean, in different regions, sometimes they are bigger. But their product, in my opinion, is better. However, you do see it also in the price, like McDonald's cheeseburger price versus A&W cheeseburger price. A&W is a restaurant I love. I know I never go there unless I have coupons, because I'll go broke. Right.
It's almost $18 for a hamburger with fries and Coke.
Yeah.
But yeah, stick to your coupons. we're on the, so we're on the same note, just in regards to
Going to bed, Doug.
that,
Have a lovely night.
evening, Doug.
Yes. So yeah, we're on the same
anything
note.
anything that gets to that level of big in order to maintain, it's not necessarily about cheapening the quality of the product. That's not their intent, but for the consumer to still be able to buy the product, they both gotta be on the same sea saddle.
See, I don't know where I look at it. Like some of the companies, I think, are purposely sort of dwindling the product because they have an entire board of directors they have to please.
Right.
And some of them, I think it is, like you said, because they need to be able to still offer the product at the price they were offering it at for the amount they're making. So I think it all matters, the product and the company and what you're looking at. I mean, I worked at McDonald's for a long time. I could tell you what it actually cost if we threw something out. And I mean, the markup on a lot of things, like a chicken nugget. When I worked there, I don't know how. So when you threw out a 6-pack, you didn't throw out all that much. You were throwing out like 72 cents, and you were selling them for what, $5.49 back then? I don't know what they cost now, but
I couldn't.
Like, so, I mean, but I mean, your overhead is you have employees, you have equipment you have to pay for, you have a cleaning guy that comes in at night, you have like, and I mean, that's the other thing people don't look into. Right?
And when you say people that don't look into,
no,
that for some of those people, that can speak
margins,
for people that are trying to open up these small businesses,
or sometimes less. In the Arctic, the difference is so, and 7 pounds of, well, yes, it's going to cost you $12 a pound to you get gas and oil up there. The gas and oil heat and power your place.
Well, if anyone's watching, no one's cooking in the kitchen with Dinah.
Jacinda, I love A&W as well.
Okay. We've got a wicked delay right now.
As they come.
But I'm not the star of the show.
Jacinda. Relationship. It's not like what we things that we off, just stuff like that. It could be a nice additive to the channel. It'll go over. We talked about ad right now, but I'm only back for a bit there, Matt. I go back to the Arctic Wednesday. but I'm on my own until then. I think my plane leaves at 9:15 a.m. and I've been told I have to get to the airport very early because the airport is fucking packed. And yeah, like even it was apparent. We're looking at Champs D'Eau from Goldwyn. Or are you talking about with Alicia? Because yeah, with Alicia there would be a lot of freezing. Even her buttocks, she would freeze her buttocks. I had other people that said they wanted to join. None of them are here. You guys all make me sad. I don't even know how many people are watching right now. I don't know anything. I don't really care. I get to talk to a buddy of mine, and that's all that matters right now. And I get to drink this beer. And then it's 10 o'clock. I actually probably have to go soon. Let me double check that my wife is still watching the movie, because I do have to chat with her. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So after tomorrow, I should be down to like 7 beers left to review, and 2 of those are non-alcoholic. So we should be done all of this stuff by the time I go back to the Arctic. That's great.
I should pick up some of the Our Compliments Red Brew. You and I are both champion for PC Red Brew. Non-alcoholic is what we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the same price point.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if it comes from the same brewery or not. I quite enjoyed Our Compliments non-alcoholic blonde lager, and I drink that in the summertime, and I go maximum Corona with that and splash it with limes. I take a whole lime and cut it up into 4 pieces and crush it into the beer.
Now I know that an actual lime is better for me, but a lot of times when I'm doing lime or lemon in my beer lately, I've been buying the real lime or real lemon and just squirting it in.
Yeah. What's your Chad? What's your favorite fruit beer?
We did that today.
Okay.
Probably. There's not a lot that are still available. Like a lot of fruit beers are like a one and done type of thing. I loved Innocent Guns Melville's Raspberry Lager. I loved Founders Mango Magnifico. But really, if I'm just going, if we're going to add it into fruit as well, Radlers are what I really like. And if I'm being 100% honest, I actually quite enjoy Bud Light Radler, and I know people hate that I like it. I think it's a great beer.
You also fancy the Bud Light Apple, do you not?
I don't mind the Bud Light Apple. I don't mind it. I don't love it.
Yeah, it's not. You don't hold it at the highest order, but it's something that you wouldn't pass away. Mine's I've seen it back on the shelf, and I haven't seen it in close to 6 or 7 years. From Belgian, Fruly, the strawberry beer.
Ooh. I actually had what they called the forbidden fruit at Pub Italia in Ottawa, and it was Fruly. It was Fruly mixed with Kronenberg Blanc, and it was quite a nice mixture because I really am a fan of the beer alchemy, the mixing of beers, and that worked really nicely. Oh my God, was that good? But I agree with you. Fruly is a nice beer. On top of that, a lot of the lambics, like Lindemann's Raspberry and all that, very good fruit beers.
When I lived in London, Ontario, my little watering hole was a little punk rock bar. And when they started having Fruity available in bottles, all of us fellas thought it was like liquid paint removal. But sure enough, there was barely a chick in the bar, and you look down the row, and it's all guys in like construction clothes, you know, after work, and torn shirts and blue jeans, whatever, and all guys drinking Fruity.
And I mean, even the name makes you think that a guy isn't going to drink it.
It's a very nice beer.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, even the name, when it first hit Ontario, you looked at Fruity and you're like, Fruity, that's going to be fruity. Nobody's going to like that. And it was a very nice beer.
Actually, Fruity, this will put more white in your beard. When it debuted in Ontario, that was during the Bucka beer craze.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's 2008. At least 2008 was the height of the Bucka beer craze, when it was like the Lakeport parade coming out of the beer store.
I still loved when Old Vienna was at the Bucka beer price tag. I loved when Molson Export was at the Bucka beer price tag. Neither of them so much anymore. I don't even know if Old Vienna is still really made. I went to a beer store, in Ontario, in Ottawa, and I'm like, can I get some Old Vienna? And she's like, what's Old Vienna? And I'm like, oh my God. I almost died. I'm like, what do you mean? What is Old Vienna? What do you mean?
Then
I felt really old. Yeah. I think she was going to ID me until I was almost crying. Like, what do you mean you don't know what this is? How old are you? Because according to my wife, people mistake me for being a lot younger than I am, and people mistake me for being a lot older than I am. The ones that mistake me for being a lot older than I am just see the white hair and think that I'm ancient, right? And then she yelled at me right before she left, before she went back up to the Arctic. She yelled at me because I am turning 40 this year. She's like, you don't even have a wrinkle on your face, you fucking asshole. Leave me alone. It's not my fault I'm a baby face. I love you, baby.
If you're 18, you're one fucked up looking 18-year-old.
If I shave, she gets mad at me because it looks like she's dating a 12-year-old. She actually has pictures. She has pictures of me with no beard to show people when they say I should shave. She goes, no, he shouldn't. And then they start laughing. I shaved when I got epoxy in my beard and my chest hair. And I had to shave my chest hair because of the epoxy, and I had to shave my beard because of the epoxy. Let's not talk about how I got the epoxy in my beard and my chest hair. But
let's talk about it.
No, let's not. It just happened, okay? When I was building tables and stuff, I would do it usually naked or in just underwear because I'm an idiot. And there was an accident that happened, and I got covered in a very sticky substance, and I'm glad that it stopped in my chest hair. I'm glad it didn't keep going down, because that was a day I wasn't wearing any clothes.
The end.
Well, Chris, it was great talking to you. It's great seeing all you guys. My wife has told me I have 5 minutes before she needs to talk to me, so I got to go take a bathroom break. But and we'll try and do this again tomorrow.
Good night, Chad.